Yep, here we go.
Do you mind? I know, sorry, we just started. Can I get a little more coffee in my
Oh,
cup?
absolutely. Yeah, go
Okay.
ahead.
I don't know if you can edit this out, but
Oh, yeah, yeah.
sorry, no, because I don't know if you just upload the whole thing, but okay, almost there.
No problem at all.
Okay, cool.
Okay, well, welcome to SF Indie Fest 2006. We're glad you all could join us here today. My name is Eric Jambor. I'm one of the features programmers, and we're here with Yana Aliata, the writer director of Reeling, and we're going to just talk a little bit about the film. Welcome, Yana.
Thank you so much for having me, Eric. I'm so excited to be showing it in SF in a month.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm always fascinated by first features. Filmmakers who've already been working in the shorts genre and then moving into the feature, world. And I wanted to see if you could maybe talk about how that happened. How'd you make that leap? What were the steps involved? How'd you get the money and get the whole project together?
Yeah, absolutely. So I of course started having done a bunch of shorts out of film school, and I was also assisting directors and producers outside of that. And I knew I wanted to do my first feature. It was just a matter of when and how. And I really had, the mindset in my 20s was, okay, I'm going to get the film financed, right, by a production company or a financier. And then I quickly realized that wanted to just make my first feature, not wait for anybody or wait for the permission to do so. And that most likely I would just have to make my first feature essentially on my own, rock and roll style micro budget in order for me to become really a feature director and then also break into the TV world as well, which is what my goal is. So, yeah, instead of really waiting around for a green light or a financier to come knocking on my door, because obviously that doesn't happen, I just decided one year, I woke up after my best friend's birthday luau back home. I was raised on Oahu, and he has this annual birthday luau. And I woke up the next morning and I was like, I want to shoot a movie here. I don't know what it is yet, but I want to shoot a movie in this environment at home with my friends and family. And I want to shoot it micro budget style. I've always loved the film Krisha by Trey Edwards Schultz. It came out, I think, almost 10 years ago now. And it's such a beautiful, incredibly powerful, moving, emotional portrait of a woman who returns home and reconnects with her estranged son after several years. And I loved just the concept of these two people that love each other, but they're not sure how to, right? Two relatives that are trying to reconnect after a devastating accident or moment in their life where they don't know if they can recover from that. And I love it also in the background of a party setting, or in this case, a relaxed luau environment where, it's an Aloha Vibes, Aloha Friday environment. And there's the character's mindset and feeling is completely at contrast with his environment. And so that's really how the idea for everything came about. And I knew that by keeping it in a contained setting, I could get the most out of the story that way and shoot it on a micro budget and shoot it under a week. So that's really, I approached it almost producerially from that point of view of if you don't have any company moves and if you really can contain it to the most limited amount of shooting days possible, then it's easy to achieve something on the budget that we did. And then I just really, once I decided the location and the story and the cast, which were all friends of mine and a lot of them are family, um, from there, I set out to raise the little money that we needed from, people that have supported me over the years, family, friends that wanted to, be involved in it, really a lot of local friends. So we didn't do a Kickstarter or anything like that, but I just went individually to about six sponsors, right? Because they were not expecting an investment back. They wanted to kind of give it as a sponsorship to support the arts. So that's how it went about.
It was great. And it's got a very nice natural feeling to it. All the characters, all the actors feel like we're watching real interactions. It doesn't seem like actors. It seems like we're almost just capturing a real event as it's happening. And I know that a lot of the takes are pretty long, and so you must be choreographing those scenes, like when Ryan first arrives and is re-meeting all his family members and friends. Was it difficult to stage with your mix of actors and non-actors, or um, did you have to do a gazillion takes? Like how did you make it feel so natural and alive?
Yeah, thank you so much. I scheduled in a Steadicam rehearsal day the day before. So we did the whole production in 9 to 10 days. One day was obviously the travel day where everybody got to Hawaii who was not already living in from there. So our three lead actors. And then the day before shoot, we had a Steadicam rehearsal day. So that was when I knew I only had the trained, like the professional actors, let's call them, not my friends that are non-professional actors, but they played themselves in the film because I wanted it to feel spontaneous with them. But the professionally trained actors, they needed to hit their marks and land their marks. And so we did that Steadicam rehearsal for half that day before shooting, where we laid out that scene that you're talking about when he first comes into the house and meets everybody. So the actors could be aware of where they are. And then on the actual shoot day is when I had the non-professional actors or my friends and my family there, and place them in the scene very naturally because I didn't want them to feel stiff. I knew that if I rehearsed them, it would feel very stiff. Whereas, the others, they needed those marks and they needed that movement. So that was a very critical day, especially when you're working with Steadicam, because it's also so that the camera department is fully aware of the marks that you need to hit and everyone can be on the same page. And I knew that when we were shooting, we only had 3 hours that morning to get that shot off, to get that opening scene off. So we really hit the ground running the next morning, and all things considered, it ran very smoothly. I think we did 18 takes of that initial scene. And it probably would have been a lot more if we hadn't rehearsed it the next day with camera and actors. So that was a very critical part of the process. And we also, on the Steadicam rehearsal day, looked at some of the other scenes and blocking beforehand because it really was go, go, go the moment we started shooting.
Yeah, that's great. It all blends in really well. It never feels like you're showing off long takes. It all feels natural and part of it. Partly I think because of the work you did with the actors. So congratulations to you on that.
Thank you.
And then the lead character, I guess Ryan, who plays Ryan.
Mhm.
What's his background? I thought he was particularly strong, especially the scene where his wires get crossed and he's laughing inappropriately, and it sets up that awkward then shot you have next where he comes to serve himself at the table, and they're all sort of trying to figure out how to not really meet his or no one knows how to act in that situation. So I
Yeah.
was wondering where he's from and what his background is.
Yeah, so Ryan, I've actually worked with him on a bunch of short films. He is, and honestly, it goes back to film school. He was one of the first actors that I worked with on like a film school project that I had back in 2011, 2012. And so I always like he's my, Joaquin Phoenix or Matt Damon, and he even looks a little bit like Matt Damon, but he's just absolutely tremendous. He has a theater background, and there is a dialogue moment exchanged in the film where he talks about playing Hamlet at the University of Hawaii. So he did live in Hawaii for 10 years. He lived and studied there, and he acted there. And it was one of the most like impressive performances of Hamlet on the island. It was absolutely incredible. And I decided to really like merge a bit of his real experience with the character as well, because I wanted everything to feel so authentic and real within the character that he's obviously playing is fictional, but I wanted to play on his real experiences so that could mean something to him as well. And so yeah, he's an actor. He lives in New York. He grew up in South Dakota. But we met because he was living and studying in Hawaii at the time that I was in high school in Hawaii. And so by the time I went to film school, I was coming back and shooting stuff in Hawaii, and we got reintroduced, and I just think he's absolutely brilliant, and he's a muse of mine, and I want to work with him on absolutely everything. So I knew that I built the film really around him. I knew that I was going to cast him as the lead. So even before I had all the story details sorted, he was a part of the film and the story.
Great. Yeah, it's great when you can have those sort of collaborations that extend that long. What was the film school?
Loyola Marymount University in
Mm,
LA.
cool, cool,
Yeah.
cool. Very nice, very nice. Um, what about the music? Can you talk a little bit about your music? I thought it was particularly striking how you sort of withhold any music until about 10 or 11 minutes into the film, when he first sort of has a moment of frustration and you kick in some of the percussion. Can you talk about the music a little bit?
Absolutely. So that's my brilliant genius composer, Michael McAllister. He's so wonderful. He and I just immediately clicked when he watched the rough cut and knew that the music should be kind of what is going on in the lead character's head, right? Which is out of step with the reality. So the percussion was important because it creates a sense of anxiety and stress within him. And a lot of the time the percussion is out of beat and out of sync. So it's not like a and then it becomes rhythmic and makes more sense. So we wanted to really pair the character's journey through with, the musical journey and have those two things align very well. And it was really just like that is the anxiety that he's feeling in his head. And Michael just completely nailed it as our composer. So,
Yeah, I
yeah.
think I think I think your whole team nailed it. So congratulations. I think this is probably when I would normally start playing questions from the audience, but since we can't really do that, maybe you could tell us what's next with the film and how people can keep in touch with what's happening, so that they can recommend it to their friends and help spread the word.
Absolutely, yeah. So we did just get distribution, which is exciting, and that will be announced probably in the next month or so. So definitely keep posted. We do have an Instagram as of now, and we will have a website. But definitely follow us on Instagram. That is the best way to keep updates with the film, and it's Reeling Movie at Reeling Movie. You can also find me on Instagram, and the Instagram to the film is right in the bio. So yeah, definitely follow us on Instagram and we will have all those details coming out soon. And we do hope we will have a limited theatrical release, which is exciting. And we will plan on coming to SF. So hopefully, we can coordinate something like that as well.
Yeah, super. We look forward to having you up and wish you all the best with the distribution.
Thank you so much, Eric. It was so great chatting.
Thank you, Anna. Take care. All right, I'll hit the stop. Hopefully this worked.